Hi YouTube Live. You guys totally missed a whole story of my experiences of paddling canoe. And so at the ending of us paddling in a canoe and it was like go and like for real. I don't know if I really want to repeat all that again, but I will start off where we was paddling from the sharks. So I was paddling and there was like there was like there was like there's sharks and I was like bad sharky. And then they said paddle by yourself, and then I'm paddle by myself. Okay, this is just recap. Okay, and then paddle by myself. So we finally got on land. Okay, this is where I left off. We're finally on land, and they're telling us we cheated. For real, they're trying to tell us we cheated. So they're trying to find one rope that we rope the dolphins to pull us into shore. And they keep holding it down is because at the end of the canoe race from Kona to Maui, I got there too fast. We got there too fast. For real. We got there 1 hour and a half too early, they said. We was there an hour and a half too early. That's the reason why they was thinking of all kind of ways how we would cheat. How can we get there 1 hour and a half early? I can tell you how. Remember, okay, in the part when we was paddling and I said we didn't catch the current and we would look like and the nose was up in the air. We was actually, and the girl was saying that, Mom, we're moving too fast. Ask her. We was actually moving as fast as almost a speedboat. That's why the nose was up in the air. It was like a speedboat. Our canoe turned into a speedboat and was going. And that makes sense, right? Animals are attracted to wave movement, current movements. They like to catch, they like to catch it. So that's why it made sense why the dolphins came too and then jumped by us. Because we were moving fast enough. Yeah. So that movement I believe, is what called the animals to us because it was something different. Yeah. And it's probably something they'd never seen for generations and generations. These animals probably, the last time they probably saw someone doing what I did was probably back in my elites. Was probably back at the ancient times with my elites used to do them. And now I'm going to tell you a secret right now. My family has always been the elites. And we always told our secret stories only to our grandkids. We never made dances for outside of our family because we was the kahunas. So they used to tell on Pacific One, and the child they used to choose would be the child that used to stay with them. Used to always test each child. See, tell us talk. They will start telling me secrets. But they're not telling me straightforward. They said, Bebe, Auntie like tell you one story. Or the elders will go, Bebe, Tutu like tell you one story. Come, Tutu get one funny story for you. Come. Tutu go tell you one joke. Come. Tutu gonna tell you something that might happen, but I like you watch them. So I used to sit on the round table at my Auntie Harriet's house with all the elders. While all my cousins was in the house, in the room, running around, going down into Pineapple Park. I sat on the table. My Auntie Harriet was the mean one. So she used to go, hey, you don't like to play? She used to test me first. Get off the table and go play with your cousins. I'll tell her no. No. I sit here. I talk a lot now. Well, if you met me when I was a little girl, I was quiet. I was quiet like a mouse. I was quiet like a rabbit. And I'll sit in the corner and I would just be like a little rabbit and I'll just listen. With my big ears, I'll listen. And my little rabbit ears used to always listen. So I remember a story that my ancestors told me that in a long, long time ago, our ancestors knew all the highways. That's how my ancestors used to say it. They used to know all the highways of the water. They never used to call them currents. They used to call them highways. So I'm going to tell you the story how my grandparents and my tutus and my great aunties told me the story. Long, long ago, when had the ancient ancestors, they tested the water because the water could move. And on this highway on the water, they saw fishes move faster. So our ancient ancestors thought, what if we did the same as the fish? And every time they went out, they found out every highway which one was better. That one day, your ancestor went out to go fishing. He was being too high maka. He thought he was the best of the best. So the water wanted to test your ancestor and took him far out to sea where no land could be seen by your eyes. That's what my ancestors said. The ocean took him so far out to sea that the land was no longer in sight. And when the land was no longer in sight, the sea stops and places him in the middle of the sea. Our ancestors sat on the water and prayed to the Lord, please give me knowledge to know my way back home. And he said his prayer. He chants to the Lord's and he chants with his heart. And then my ancestor said, if your ancestor did not pray from the heart, the water was going to take him further out into sea. But because your ancestor chose to believe in the nature of the world, he sat alone in his canoe. And he looked upon the water, and the answer became clear. My ancestor said, do you know what answer God gave him in the water? And I said, no, because I was young, I was naive, I was too stupid. So the correct answer is no. I don't know the answer. So my great tutu or my great auntie or my elder that was telling me the story at the time would say the answer was the highway. And I said, that's right, the ocean's highway. And I would smile like, yeah. and I would be fully into it. Now I understand. Now at that point, I understand why my elders kept on pushing water highways, the Watergate highways. Because I couldn't understand them, they told me this story. Thank you. Then my ancestor said, see, you catching on. You understand what the highways are. And that's when all my elders will start laughing. Oh, took da. Long time for catch on was about the highways. Oh, took your no Akbar would take your granddaughter 2 days for understand this story. No Akbar. And then my grandma, no poor, that's sitting on my left hand side, and she's sitting up straight, and she puts her hand on my hand. And I can feel how proud my grandma is. She doesn't say it. She does not brag it. She just sits up straight, looks at all her siblings, all her aunties, all her grandpa, all her elders too, while she's holding my hand and says, I think my granddaughter understands. She even states it, my granddaughter. Meaning my grandma was not afraid to be represented, that she was my grandma. Meaning, when I heard my grandma say, my granddaughter understand. Meaning, my grandmother was telling them, I, grandma poor, auntie poor, raised my own granddaughter. And I, by her example, did an awesome job. And my grandmother was gloating that she said, look at all of you. Where your grandkids to pass down this knowledge to? Look like the knowledge only going to my grandchild. I remember the blue canvas behind my Auntie Harriet, and she made me the most stinkiest face ever. And she gave me the stink eye, and she looked at me and said, she not learning shit. She only nosy. She niele. She dumb. For real. My Auntie Harriet said it straight to my face on the table in front of everybody. My grandmother step up and go, Harriet, we might be older now, but I still your sister. I see my grandmother's powers in front of me. My grandmother was ready for beat them all the fuck up. My grandmother said, why we made this meeting for? You know we looking for the next one. You know the rules, how we test which one gonna be the next one. And all you know like who the next one is. What's wrong with my granddaughter? What is wrong with my granddaughter? Is it because she carried Napualani? She carried my name. And I'm sitting there looking at my grandmother like, huh? Confused. And then they threatened my grandmother. Why? Only get you? And I said, like straight up, my grandmother not alone. And then that's when my Auntie Harriet looked at me with her stink face. Why? Well, what you gonna do? I stand up next to my grandmother and I said, I will kill all of you. With a straight up face. I looked straight at my auntie in her face and in her eyes and I said, I will kill all of you. You touch my grandmother right now, I will kill all of you. You forgetting who my adopted parents are. Where was I this summer? It's October right now. Get Halloween in a couple weeks. Where was I this summer? What boot camp was I in this summer? Every single adult leaned back, looked at my grandmother and said, take your devil child and get the fuck out of here. To my face. And said, take that she devil and get the fuck out of here. That's when Satan spawned. She carried Satan around with her. And I said, no, that's just God. I even corrected him that day. I said, no, that's God. But you just seeing God angry at you. So you just think it's the evil one. But you guys always think it's the evil one when somebody mad at you. And that's when my Auntie Harriet stand up and look at my grandmother and said, Napua, take your fucking granddaughter and go to fuck home. This is my fucking place. My grandmother grabbed me on my wrist, yanked me to her station wagon that my mother went by for her and was on long back. She go around, she tell me get in the car. I get in the car. My grandmother stay in the garage calling out my Auntie Harriet. Come here, Harriet, you fucker. You like call my granddaughter one devil. Come over here, Harriet. No fucking hide back there, Harriet. Come out here on the streets. Come on the road. We're not trespassing now, you fucker. Bruh, my grandmother was crazy, bruh. She was a scrapper, bruh. And that's who I used to look up to. My grandmother. My grandmother, right in front of Auntie Harriet's house, when fucking beat up one man in front of me. One fucking man. My grandmother poor. I was walking and this fucking guy was harassing me. And my fucking grandmother come around the bend. That's fucking molesting, you fucker. You don't molest my granddaughter. And she didn't fucking run on the fucking road. At Auntie Harriet's house. She fucking she beat up the guy right there at the end of the hallway. She was in long pants, jeans pants, tight, and one white button-up shirt like this. And she was just boom, 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 beating up the guy, bruh. She didn't fucking get the guy and run like they was trying to get her. She didn't fucking when get over her. She didn't fucking run, go get one fucking rope. She didn't fucking lasso that fucker. She didn't pull them down. She'd fucking rope them like one fucking cow. And she would fucking drag them. She was like, you ever touch my fucking granddaughter, I go fucking kill you. For real. And I was looking at my grandmother like, and then everybody was running outside. Napua! Napua, stop! Napua! Look what you teaching your granddaughter! Napua! Look your granddaughter! And I was standing there going, go, Grandma, go! Get him, Grandma! Get him, Grandma, get him! Get him, Grandma, get him! And everybody, Napua! Napua! Knock it off, Napua! Look what you're teaching your granddaughter! And then, like a week later, I go back to my Auntie Harriet's house. And then my cousin fucking pick on me. So I run down and used to have one fireplace and like one sitting area and had a rope hanging on top of this fireplace. I go run to the fucking rope and I go fucking swing on my lasso over my fucking cousin. Now picking on me. I fucking yank him. I fucking wrap him around. And I fucking yank him. And I tell him, you fucking hit me again. I'll fucking kill you. And they run out. Then in the hallway, you see all my fucking older uncles and all my older cousins, that's men going, fucking Napua! Napua Lani! Stop acting like Napua! I was like, I'm not acting like Napua. And they was like, you are acting like Napua. And I said, I acting like me. And my name is Napua Lani. And they was like, Napua Lani, you fucking kid. Where the fuck your grandma? For real. And then my cousin Stanford, or we used to call him Uncle Stanford, but cousin Stanford, he fucking grab it, but he said, Laffy. I see the clown, yeah? He said, Laffy. And he grabbed me. He go, cousin, come. We gotta go to the park. And I said, why? My mom guys said you gotta go home. And I said, but I live all the way out in Puna. And they said, your mother gonna pick you up at the park. And I said, okay. So we go to the park. You know who come? My grandmother. My grandmother comes. She park by the tree side. I run through the park. I go to my grandmother. Grandma. My grandma go, get in the car, Napua. Lani. Now. And I was like, and I stopped dead by the tree like, oh shit, I don't get lickings. That's the voice that I always get lickings. So I don't like go now. I see standing at my grandma going, oh, I go wait for my mom. And then she go, your mother not coming. I coming. I came. Get in the car. So I was like, okay. So I go in the car. I jump in the Volkswagen. I go in the wagon. And I sit down. She reversed, she drive out, she turned right, we passed Uncle Ben's spot, we would turn down. She passed 90 Peely Pot Street. She stick finger, fuck you. Come on. And then yeah. Then she turned around again. She go, baby, now when we turn around, you gotta say, fuck you, fuck them. And I go, okay. We drive past them. I go, I stick finger, fuck you. And then my grandma going, yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, Nikki. Fuck you, Nikki. And I was like, Grandma, who Nikki? Nikki, that fucking dummy in the house. Fuck you, Nikki. Okay. Then we go home. We go to my grandmother's house in the Loop. It's called Lanakila. Lanakila. Or Lokahi Circle. Lokahi was Lokahi Circle. She was living. I lived in Lanakila. Lokahi Circle. And we gonna go home. She go, you hungry? And I was like, yeah. So she make me eggs and rice and this and that. She sit down. Then she put the big Bible on the middle of the table. She go, you pow eat? I say, yep. You pow drink? I say, yep. She go, you gotta use the bathroom. I go, not now. She go use the bathroom. So I go run down the hallway. I go use the bathroom. I come back. She get the book open now. She get the Bible open. She get her glasses on. And she go, come sit right here. Right next to grandma. Like, I go sit next to my grandma. And she goes, read this verse right here for me. Read them. And whatever word you don't know, I tell you. So I read them. I stutter. She explains. She delegates for me. She, to the best of her knowledge. And she goes, Bebe, the reason why I worry for you is because everybody call you the devil. Do you know who the devil is? And I said, the bad guy. And then she says, what's your definition of a bad guy? And I said, somebody that's just being mad and angry at the time, and then they'll get over it. And then she goes, that's a good point of view, because God does get angry, and that would be a good similarity to God's bad side. But to make it easier, we're gonna separate it. And they don't want you to become fully 100% the devil. And I said, why? And she goes, Bebe. So she gives me one book and one pen. She goes, can you draw me your imaginary friend again? And I said, okay. And I draw him. And she goes, do you know you draw him with a hat and without a hat on? And I said, why do you keep calling it him? And she goes, well, by your design, this is more of a male image. This is a male image. So my grandma told her, because you draw a male image, I believe it's a male. But if it's a girl, let grandma know if it's a girl. And I told my grandma, no, it's a boy. And we grew up together. And she was like, you grew up with him? And I said, yeah, he ages just like me. So my grandma said, wait, your imaginary friend ages with you. He changes? I said, yeah, he changes. But then she said, can you draw God for me then? And then I draw the girl. And she said, then my grandma said, you believe God is a female? And I said, the feminine. Because I said, that's the feminine. Compassion, the nice side. And usually women are the nicer ones. So the perfect image for the nicer side would be more girls. And that's how the mentality sees it. And she's like, oh. So if there were more compassionate males, you would have used the male image? And I said, yeah. It's because of what I feel more comfortable in my knowledge of what I know shows more compassion and what shows more, stern and dangerous. So my grandma was like, that's interesting how you see that. So my grandma asks me again, why do you feel that way? And I said, every night I talked to the girl. I pointed at the girl picture. I said, I talk to her every night. And she goes, you talk to her every night? And I said, sometimes feels like dreams. Sometimes feel real. Sometimes I talk to her in the mirror. And that's when my grandma leaned back and said, you talk to her in the mirror? And I said, yep. And my grandma was like, I need to show you something. She brings me she goes in a room. She brings me out a camera. I flip it and I press play on the camera. And I'm watching the screen. The screen shows me talking to my grandma's mirror that was in my Uncle George's room at the time. And the mirror would talk back. But in the video, when the mirror is moving, my mouth does not move. So my grandma was watching to see how I would react to it. And I closed it and I gave her back the camera and I said, that's me. And she goes, yes. Do you see what you're doing? I said, but I always do. I'm in the mirror. And she said, wait. You're saying you're in the mirror? And I said, yep, I'm in the mirror. Because she was asking me what was I doing. And she opens it again. She fast forwards it. The girl in the mirror looks like when grow up. The girl in the mirror now looks like the girl you see right now. And the girl sitting in front of the mirror is still the little girl. My grandmother pauses the video and shows it to me. And I look at my grandma and I said, that's me. And then I point at the mirror, that's me. And she goes, they're both you? And I said, mm-hmm. But in this timeline, I tell my grandma, but in this timeline, my name is Samantha, or you like to call me Napualani. From her timeline, her parents named her Sindel. Her original name is Sin. My grandma said, her original name is Sin. Mm-hmm. Her original name is Sin. And when she got older, they started to call her Sindel. Because she delays sin. Meaning she will try her best to prevent you to sin. She's Sindel. She will prevent you to sin, but she will sin. That's why her original name is Sin. Then my grandma was like, so sin is allowed to sin? I said, mm-hmm. Because Sindel is the spirit that hunts down all the spirits that do wrong. Sindel is not allowed to touch any souls that are pure and innocent and is good and is nice. And I touch the Bible. As long as they follow the rules and the metaphors and the guidelines of these metaphors, of these stories, I and Sindel cannot hurt them. And I looked my grandma in the eye. So, if I am hurting them, they are a sinful soul. Because sin, and the reason why I was granted the name Sin, is because to remind me, I only am allowed to attack the sinners. Only those that sin can destroy. You understand? It says it all over the scriptures. Only sinners may sin destroy. I am sin. I am Sindel. I can destroy all sinners. And I will destroy all sinners in the way they sin. I cannot destroy them in somebody else's sin. I have to destroy them with their own sin. Also known as karma, but I am not karma. Karma is my sister that works beside me. Because karma can be good or bad. Sin will always be bad. You will never want to see sin in front of your life. It says that all in the scriptures, you must reject sinning. You must disobey any sinner. You must do your best to not fall for temptations of sin. And if you can handle that, you will have the blessings of the heavens. And the reason why you have the blessings of the heavens, because no one will stop you. Because sin cannot hurt those that do not sin. Do you understand? Sin cannot hurt those that do not sin. Sin is only ordered to punish those that sin. So it's easy for them to know their rule and their position, right? If she's constantly be calling sin, can I forget my position if my name is sin? Can I forget what my rules are if my name is sin? Because all you got to do is, what's your name? My name is Sindel, also known as sin. Can you sin? I can sin because I am here to destroy all sinners and to destroy all sinners in their sinner kind of way. I got to sin against them. That's the reason why I am the only person is allowed to sin, is because I lived through the tribulations and trials to earn the position, to be the one that may sin and destroy those of sinners. My grandmother told me this when I was a little girl, that I was the double-edged sword from the mouth, the shield of the people, and the iron rod. I told my grandma, how can I be all? And they said, because the story says that God comes back down with a shield for the people, his people, the righteous people, the shield, to protect them. We have the double-edged sword of the mouth to destroy any people that sin out of the mouth, and the iron rod to keep it stern for those that do wrong. And I said, so the iron rod is for those that do wrong? She said, yes, because the double-edged sword is for those that speak wrong. And the shield is to protect those that do righteous. And I said, if I'm all of the weapons, who is the wielder? I cannot be the wielder if I'm the weapon. And my grandma smiles at me. I don't think you're going to like who God chose in this timeline, who your wielder is. And I said, if you're talking about that faggot that I met the other day, I rejected. That's when my grandmother saw my true anger. I said, I have seen somebody that can wield this and maintain and tame these weapons. And he does not live in this timeline. He lives in her timeline. There's nobody here that can wield this. I have not seen him. And that's when my grandma said, you're going to create that timeline here if you follow that. How does the world look at the ending? I grab the Bible and I flip it to the Revelations. And I said, right there, it's going to be all mayhem, sick, and die, and all of that. That's when my grandma said, so this really going to happen? I said, yep, but happened in my time. And it's happening. I told her about when I'm in my 30s. I told her maybe 32, 33, close to 36. And she said, you sure? I said, yep. And she said, what's wrong with the one that wields it now? And I said, I met him. I pretended to be a weak girl because the test to see if he could protect me. Why would I give him a weapon that he himself cannot protect? Why would I give him the iron rod or the sword or the shield and the power if he can't even protect the weapon itself? My grandma goes, that's a good question. Because to earn the weapon, you have to show you can protect it. Exactly. And I told my grandma, and that boy has never protected me. So why should I give him power? Why should I marry him? So my grandmother sits there and goes, now I know why you rejected him. I said, yes, that's why I rejected him. My grandmother sits there and goes, you know what, baby? You should hear what your cousin's saying. I say, what is my cousin saying, Grandma? Your cousins want to marry Kanani Abadilla. That's when I made the plan with my grandma. I said, Grandma, can you help me get Kanani Abadilla to fall in love with someone else? My grandma said, is that what you really want? And I said, yeah. But what if I tell you you was supposed to? And I said, we can change that. And she goes, why do you think we can change that? And I said, because Sindel is here too. She goes, Sindel is here too. I say, yep. And Sindel does not like him. Sindel says that he's a disgrace to the real one. Sindel said that this boy does not even come close to the original one. And she's disappointed. But she was thinking that this timeline could have been better than her timeline. But she said that this timeline is even 10 times, 100 times worse than her timeline. She talks about how her world looks like, but you should see what this world will turn into because of him. And it's already happening. We didn't have gay problems on our planet, for real. In our timeline, we had no confusions of gays and lesbians. Mm-mm. Gays and lesbians was wiped out first. Was the racist group decision, because we was giving ourselves any excuse to cause a war, and that was on war, and we wiped them out. No one would be gay or lesbian, because if you ever showed it, mostly on my timeline and my planet, you was a first target. And believe me, they had fun with you. They never see you as human. They never see you nothing. They didn't even see you as an animal. They saw you as nothing but a toy. That's the reason why and that's why I was saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I had to learn to understand it here, in this world. Because if you want to know the truth, look at Alika and Samuel. They hate that shit. It's because they come from a world and a timeline that they were bred and raised. That's the villains. That's the evil ones. They're corrupted in the mind. They're on disease, causing everybody else to be gay, causing everybody else to be lesbian, because the inspiration in their head fuck up, and they want to wipe them out. Samuel and Alika still the same way. Alika is the one that's more understanding, though. Alika is the one like, brah, you gay, you stay over there. Because I ain't no fucking Dick Gagger. But Samuel is, you fucking gay. There's no fucking gay motherfuckers in this club. We all males in this fucker. We cutting your dick off right now, and we transgendering your ass into a fucking girl. How dare you walk around with a fucking dick acting like you're a fucking male? And that's how, so that makes sense, right? Who is the ruler of our world? Samuel. And Samuel hated them. And like he said, I'm racist against those bitches. He doesn't like gay people. Why do you think when he was growing up, he didn't fucking kill them all and he was hating them all? And he kept on saying, surrounded by these fucking faggots. That's what driving me fucking crazy. I cannot be near these fucking faggots. And it's true. It provokes him. But if you put Samuel next to other straight men, like headstrong, straight, real males, he's really cool, laid back. Samuel is super laid back. But you just got to put him in the correct environment. You put him in the wrong environment, you fucked. But if you put Samuel in the correct environment, he's good. He's perfect. He's the most humblest man you had ever seen. It's just like he said, he's racist against gays and lesbians and druggies.